Hey everybody, this is Mike Enos, and I was asked to share my story today, and it's my pleasure to do that. I'm going to resist the urge to be perfect and have notes because otherwise I could go on all night, and you don't want that. So I want to talk to you a little bit about where my journey started and what it was like to be me. Before I actually was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease about 4 years ago now. And basically, what that meant was my feet went numb, my hands went numb. They didn't know what was going on, and I used a walker. I actually used a walker for 3 years until last May. Um, and so last May, I had just started using a cane, and I was holding on to that cane for dear life. I was taking really high doses of prednisone, doses you can't even imagine. And basically, what that did was it caused me to balloon up. My weight just kept going up and up and up. And I got to 320 pounds. And I ate so that my stomach didn't hurt because the prednisone was really painful. So that's where I had ended up. And I'd been a yo-yo dieter all my life. I like to say that I had lost 75 pounds every decade of my life. And you can tell from my gray hair, well, that's a lot of decades. So I basically knew what it was to diet. I knew what it was to be on plan, where I struggled and fought and tried to do things to get that weight off. And I had tried every diet you can imagine. I don't even like to think about all the different diets I tried. Nothing ever worked for the long haul. And I was totally discouraged. I was tired, I was depressed, and I was most of all scared. I didn't know what life was going to be. I was really lucky because I could keep working. My feet didn't hurt. They just kept me from getting around well. Um, Work gave me meaning. I love my job. I've had it for 27 years. So that kept me going when things were really tough. I wasn't sleeping well. I was pretty sure I had sleep apnea. I didn't want to tell anyone. Certainly didn't want to go to the doctor and find that out. So I just really was certain that my bad eating habits had contributed to my feet, my hands, and all this problem I had. My hands had gotten better, my feet hadn't. Again, I was holding on to that cane for dear life. And the irony of it was, since I couldn't walk around, those bad eating habits that I had adopted, that I was sure were contributing, that started to look like, well, I couldn't get out of my car. So I would go to Starbucks on the way, and no slam against these guys. It just is what it was. And I would have my Starbucks, and I would eat breakfast there, and then I would eat lunch at a Subway drive-through, and then on the way home, I'd hit another drive-through. I would hit Taco Bell or whoever that was. It didn't really matter. The point is, I wasn't getting nutrition that fed my body. I was getting nutrition that, you call it what you want to, but it basically wasn't helping me. And so all of that made me feel trapped. I didn't know what to do. And so I saw it. I saw Janet posting on Facebook, and I thought, there's got to be something to this. She talked about losing weight, and so finally I just decided that's it. I got a call. I was desperate. I needed a solution, and I called her, and she she started talking about support and good nutrition. And the one that got me the most was optimal health. I was like, I don't know what optimal health is, but I know I need it. That's what I want. That's what I want for me. So I just basically I felt like I had nothing to lose. 120 pounds, I figured, but I had nothing to lose other than that. So why not jump in and try? And so that's what I did. I jumped in. I got started June 2nd, and I remember getting that box of Fuelings and thinking, hopefully this is it. Hopefully this is it. And I started learning right away, June 2nd. So I do have to do a medical procedure, basically called an infusion, where they find a vein, they put this stuff in me that keeps me feeling healthy. Things on, also went for that. and they couldn't get a vein. My arms were, they just couldn't get them. The veins that they had been using were tired and they couldn't get them. And this June 3rd, they couldn't get them. And June 3rd at noon, I remember leaving that place. It was an hour away from my home. And I remember leaving and I was so discouraged and so frustrated. Because without that, I knew I was in trouble without that infusion. And I called Janet, and this goes to support. I knew Janet. I knew how to use a coach. I was a coach in another life. So I called her and I said, Janet, and she answered. That was the most amazing thing. And I said, Janet, I'm really frustrated, really disappointed, really discouraged. And I get it. There's a fast food restaurant up the street, and I would go there right now and I would have a nice lunch. I didn't mean it would be huge, but I knew it wasn't going to serve me, and it was going to be what would make me feel better, right? So I said to her, I'm going to eat my peanut butter bar and I'm going to drink my bottle of water and I'm going to be happy about it. And she laughed and I laughed, and I knew I had crushed the desire to do anything but that. And that was really the beginning. And I had learned that fun and easy serves me well, although my life hadn't been fun and easy for the last 3 years. It had been really, really difficult. And at that moment, I just decided fun and easy was going to be it. I was going to do this journey, and it was going to be fun and easy. And so that's what I did. That's what I did. And after the first month, I had lost 28 pounds, 30 days, 28 pounds, and I was flying. I really felt like maybe this was it. Maybe I had a chance to be the guy that I wanted to be. So I just stayed on course. I remember my parents came to visit me in late July, and oh, Dad's gonna appreciate this, by the way. Dad was here and Mom was here, and Dad lost 8 pounds just being around me. They weren't on the plan. They just ate with me, and Dad lost 8 pounds. And they went home, and Mom called me back, and she was like, "Hey, I think we want to do that." And they'd had their own health struggles and not so much health struggles, but weight struggles anyway. And so Mom was borderline diabetic. She was having to test her blood. She was having to take a pill before every meal, and she was just really wanting to get off that. And she had heard there was hope for her to get off of that. So they started the plan right then, and they started to have amazing results themselves. Dad lost 60 pounds. Mom lost 40 for over 100 pounds together. And the most amazing thing is Mom just got a phone call in the last month, I guess, saying that she no longer had to take her blood test. She no longer had to take the pill. She was no longer diabetic. And you know what? My journey's been incredible, but if my journey only helped my parents, that would be enough. As it turns out, I've had a lot of friends who jumped into, and they've had a lot of health and victories as well. So that alone would be a good enough reason, right? To help others and to see others healthy. My own health has been, incredible. The journey's been incredible. And I remember one of the turning points for me was, and I have so much to share on this topic, but I'm just going to give you a little hint that says this is how you get to where you need to be, where you want to be. And that is that at 6 weeks in, Janet called, my coach called, and she said, Mike, she goes, I've got some people that are struggling and they're cheating. Why don't you cheat? Why don't I cheat? Why don't I cheat on this plan? And I just said, well, my goal with, I told you a little bit about my feet now. It's not something I tell many people, to be honest. A lot of you who know me don't even know about that. But I said, if my feet aren't going to get better, then I want to be as mobile as I can be. And that's my why. My why is to be as mobile as I can be. And I want to live to be 85 or more. And I feel like I've got a lot of contribution in this world to do. And I want to be as mobile as possible. And I don't want to be in a wheelchair when I'm 70. So that's my why. And as I was telling her that, I realized that was only part of my why. The rest of my why was a story I didn't even know. Here's the real why. I didn't want to have a heart attack. I didn't want to have a stroke. I didn't want to have sleep apnea. Um, those all sounded really painful and really horrible, and I knew they were hard to recover from. Those of you who have been through them, I get it. I just was, I had been up and down so many times, I just knew that was a real possibility. And I told her right in that moment, I knew right then that was the real why. And the why for me was so powerful that I realized for the first time in my life, eating something that wasn't on my sheets, on my pieces of paper for my lean and green and condiments, or not eating out of the box, or eating something, that wasn't going to serve me. It was going to hurt me. And I'd hurt myself enough, and I didn't need to do that anymore. So that was a big turning point for me. Another thing that happened was in November. So I started June 2nd. And in November, I was with my parents for Thanksgiving, and we all had a lean and green. Well, I don't know, it's some sort of lean and green. We mixed all kinds of stuff. But I remember Dad fixed potatoes out of the plan, and it was just awesome. And it struck me that we had lost 185 pounds at the time. And I said to my mom and dad, I'm like, wow, there's a family member missing from our Thanksgiving dinner, and we didn't even know it. And we had a good laugh over that. So my family's healthier, and I'm getting around better, and I was feeling more energetic, and I was clear-minded, and I was sleeping better. Mom said then, well, you're snoring a lot less, and well, thank goodness, that was an awesome thing to hear. And then in December, I flew to Seattle, and I was sitting in the airport, and I realized that it was the first time in my life that I could remember sitting in an airport waiting to board an airplane and not being afraid of being too big for the seat, not being afraid that the seatbelt would just barely go around me, not being afraid of being that big guy lumbering down the aisle, and having everybody on the plane go, oh, please, I hope he's not sitting next to me. And it was an amazing feeling to be able to get on an airplane, first of all, because of my feet and the things I'd been through and all that, but then to get on an airplane and realize I could travel again. I could be a guy that could sit on an airplane. And I had experiences since then where the guy next to me is bigger than me. And I just thought, wow, the seatbelt, I have a picture of the seatbelt, and I wish I could share it with you now. It would not be easy. But the seatbelt went all the way to my knee. That's how much extra seatbelt I had. And those are just amazing things for me to experience and get to, we talk about non-scale victories, those for me are just gigantic. So those things all going on. And in February, I before my feet and the whole game I had to deal with there, I had been going to Brazil for my company several different times, and in May, just before I started in June, after I'd started the plan, I'd lost like 20 pounds. I was in Denmark, and that was rough. I mean, I was 300 pounds and barely fitting in seats and all those things I just said. In February, I went to Brazil and I traveled, and that's another long flight. And I just remember the victory of it. Just remember being able to get on airplanes, and just remember being able to encourage people and be positive. And even in my situation, with my feet still being numb and my ability to get around limited, I was able to get on the airplanes and do the things I needed to do. I was able to go down there and support those folks in our company down there, and just do that well, have a good time doing it. And I've been back since. And so that for me was incredible. And what I found was I found a plan that works. I found a plan that works for a busy guy like me. I get to the office, I work all day, I have my food with me, and I don't have to think about it. And then the support of Janet and Shireen and Lori and Brad, an amazing group of coaches for weight loss, for optimal health, and for life. I mean, these people pour into me, and that gives me the ability to pour into others. And that for me is the biggest gift. And it's definitely the success of what I've done. The the community, all of you, all of you at Healthy Together, and all of your victories and all of your antidote, post it, I can definitely take another picture of a closet door stuffed full of Optavia food. I love that. The victories, the fun things that people discover, and y'all can make waffles out of stuff I just didn't think was possible. So I'm encouraged. I laugh. I have fun. It's just an amazing thing. And it's the support, it's the community, it's the nutrition, it's all these things and it's the education, right? We have Dr. A, we have the books, we have, if we want to know more, these 8 pounds. And I got to be honest, in the last 30 years, I hadn't been below 200. I'd gotten down close. We're around 36 miles a week and I could get down there, but I hadn't been close. And now I can't run, right? My feet don't work. So that wasn't a part of what I was going to be doing anytime soon. But this plan works. And Saturday morning, I stepped on the scale and it said I weighed 178 pounds. Lean, healthy, 178 pounds. That's a 30-year goal in the making. It happened in 1 year from 320 pounds with all the right things, with the right plan, with the right people, with the right support, with the right education. So I just really want to encourage you to really dig for your why, because that's what set me free. My why was strong enough that I never thought about going off plan. The plan works. Why would I do that? Why would I, I'm not, okay. We all have our days. I get it. And I love the idea that we blow a meal some point in our journey, and it's one meal out of 180 and 6 meals a day, right? 180 in a month, we blew one. So we get to restart right away. We don't have to worry. How many of you have said, oh, I'll start Monday. I'll restart Monday. You don't do that on this plan, right? You restart the next meal because you can. And I just want to tell you, I sleep well. My mom actually said I was in town 2 weeks ago visiting my parents, and she said, you don't snore at all anymore. I'm like, yeah, hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. It's an amazing journey I've been on, and I don't snore because I don't have sleep apnea. I'm not going to have a heart attack. At least I've done everything I can to not have a heart attack, to not have a stroke, to get around as mobile as possible. I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm relaxed. I can tell you one other thing that's just amazing, and that is that this week I decided to try not using the cane. So I've been in Starbucks. Don't tell anyone, Starbucks. I love Starbucks, but it's an Americano, folks. It's an Americano. And so anyway, I can go to Starbucks without a cane. It's scary. I'm not going to kid you. My feet aren't right yet, but I'm believing they will be, because I'm not giving up on that. And I have the right nutrition in my body now. I weigh 178 pounds. My body has the resources now to heal my body the rest of the way. And now I told you they had trouble getting a vein. They don't have that trouble anymore because the veins show, they can see them. There's not all that extra layer of fat. And when I said to them, you never said it was because I was fat, they said, well, you're fluffy like us. So I get it. They can stick me now, and I can get the drug that I need to keep my body reinforced. And I have the nutrition to get myself through all of this. And best of all today, I help others do the same thing, because people come to me, you can imagine, and ask me, how did I lose 142 pounds? And I'm only too glad to share that. So I hope you're encouraged this day. I hope that I lit up just a little bit of your day and gave you a little bit of encouragement. And if you have any questions about this video, please call your health coach and they will help you. And it's just been a pleasure to share. This is my story. This is where I've been. And you know what? What's next? Set another goal, get another why. Let's go. Talk to you soon. Thanks.